Well, it's no secret that if you're looking for a way to heat your bus in the winter that doesn't rely on electricity or propane, a diesel heater is the way to go. I don't have to convince you that. I'm not here to sell you which model diesel heater even. I've already done a video comparing a couple of options out there. I'm here to show you what I did in my own bus, with my own diesel heater installation, to share with you some tips and tricks and methods I implemented to help you get the most out of your diesel heater. And some of them are real game changers that fundamentally change the nature of the operation of a diesel heater, that get rid of some of the worst flaws that I think they all have, at least in my opinion. So don't go anywhere. This week's episode, we're helping you get the most out of your diesel heater install. To start things off, let's talk about your diesel heater exhaust. Now, if you're like me, you've just accepted the fact that if you have a diesel heater, you're going to have one of these hot little nubbins sticking out the bottom of the skirt of your bus. And while that's totally fine, and this is what is included in the kit that your diesel heater comes with, I think we can do better, and some friends of mine and now myself have been convinced that the nicest way to handle that is to pick up one of these stainless steel through-hole exhaust fittings. A lot of times these are from the marine world. That's where this one's from. And what it does is it allows you to install it in the side of your bus here, flush, and you will just then connect the output of your exhaust into this guy. And it gives you a nice, clean-looking port that kind of replaces this silly little hot dangler you've got here, which I guess, could potentially catch things on fire, maybe if you're driving through tall grass. Nonetheless, this is a much cleaner solution, and I'll be putting it on my own bus. The next thing I want to talk about that not all diesel heater setups come with is a fuel filter. Now, if you take a look under here, there is an inline fuel filter that's installed for my diesel heater. Now, that came with the kit. This is a Levaner 5K Alpine Pro. It's my recommended heater. There's a link to it in the video description, and it comes with a fuel filter. If your setup doesn't come with a fuel filter, I strongly recommend you purchase one, because you want to filter the fuel that's going in your diesel heater. These things are prone to problems, and anything you can do to mitigate that will pay off in dividends, because if you're running the diesel heater, it's because you need it, which means it's cold, and it could be a matter of health and safety if this thing goes down. So my number 2 tip, make sure you have a diesel heater fuel filter installed on your setup. For a long time, people have been asking me for backup camera recommendations for their schoolies, and to be honest, I've been pretty disappointed with most of the offerings out there until now. I just got my hands on the new Wolfbox G900 Pro, and it's got me excited. It's got the best resolution of any backup camera on the market, with a 4K camera in the front, a 2.5K camera on the rear, and an 8-megapixel sensor. The strap-style mounting system makes it easy to attach your backup camera display to your existing rearview mirror, even if it's a funny shape like mine. They use advanced noise filtering technology so that your nighttime shots stay crisp. Beyond that, it's got a touchscreen just like an iPad, so no more clunky menus. I can switch seamlessly between cameras and adjust settings without having to push buttons. Add to that, it's got voice control, so as I'm driving, I can switch between cameras with just the sound of my voice. Switch to rear camera. Now, when you're done recording those and you want to download those files onto your phone, you can simply connect it to Wi-Fi and use the Wolfbox app to transfer them to your phone without having to even remove the SD card. That makes things really convenient. So if you're looking for a new backup camera for your schoolie, or maybe it's time to replace your old one, definitely check out the Wolfbox G900 Pro. I'm very pleased with it. I can't get over how good the resolution is. And the fact that I can switch between cameras by just swiping it or by using my voice, that's a real game changer. Head on over, there's a link in the video description to go to the Wolfbox site, check out what they have, and if you're looking for one for a schoolie, make sure you get the extended wire kit for the camera so you can cover the distance from the front to the back of your bus. Okay, so now we're inside the bus, and this tip, this product I'm about to share with you, is, in my opinion, the biggest game changer to hit diesel heaters since diesel heaters. If you're unfamiliar with how most diesel heaters operate, they have one big issue that everyone will agree with me on, which is when you turn your diesel heater on, it stays on, and even if you set it to a temperature, it will ramp up and down to maintain that temperature, but they never fully turn off. And this is a big problem, especially if you're somewhere where it's not particularly cold, but you're looking for a way to take the edge off the heat. Up until now, you've just had to deal with that or crack a window, but this new product changes everything. The first thing that you have to have in order to be able to utilize this new device is a diesel heater that uses a 4-button key fob to turn it on and off. I used to always think these were stupid, and I still do, but they enable you to use this device here, which is the Bureck CD Thermostat. This is a Chinese diesel thermostat made by, I think, just a few people up in Montana, who decided to take it on themselves to fix this issue that most diesel heaters have. What it does is it clones the signal from your remote control when you program it, and it uses that signal to turn your diesel heater on or off based on a temperature setting that you select in here. In fact, you can even program this like a normal thermostat at your house to turn on and off at specific times throughout the day at specific temperatures. That is incredible. If that doesn't land with you on how important that is, imagine having a furnace that you couldn't turn off, you could only turn down. Well, this changes that. Now it will turn off when it gets to its set point, and you can even tell it how many degrees of swing you want it to go before it turns back on again. So if you set it to 70, it'll drop down to 67 before it kicks back on. It's just that simple. You can mount this anywhere on the wall and check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it up right now. It's 68 degrees in here. And if you watch this screen and this screen, you'll see what happens as I turn this up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this up. And once we get past our set point, you're going to see a red light flash here. See that red light? And then our diesel heater just turned on. Now it will stay on until it hits our set point, at which point it will then signal our diesel heater to turn off, and it'll do that maintaining the preset temperature that you have. I really love this device. There's a link to it in the video description. I have no affiliation with them. This thing is a real game changer. I've been using it now for almost a year with no complaints about it. They have a battery-powered one that you can recharge and then stick anywhere, which is cool. They also have one that doesn't have a battery that is permanently powered by the micro USB port on the bottom here. So check it out, the Chinese diesel heater thermostat by Bureck. The next thing I want to talk about is ducting. Now, if you just install a diesel heater and vent it straight into your space, there is nothing wrong with that. That's what I've done in the past most often, but I wanted to take things a step further because it's my bus, and I kind of went overboard on the ductwork, but I think it's worth it, and let me tell you why. The first thing I've done, so I've got my diesel heater installed right there. I have the output of that diesel heater ducted up, and it comes back, and then it tees off. Now, one branch of that tee comes right here, and it's going to vent out the front, near the front of the bus. This is always a cold zone, even if you insulate it, even if you have nice curtains, it's always going to be chilly toward the front, so I want to send some of the heat up here. The next thing I did is I took the other branch coming off of that, and I sent it down underneath my kitchen sink and into my bathroom. Now, if you recall, I've got a raised floor in my bathroom, and a lot of people raise the floor in their buses, either to get over a wheel well or because they've done a roof raise and they want the extra storage. And that's also where a lot of my plumbing ended up. Now, I love heated floors. They're not something that I feel the complexity is worth for the lifestyle that I built this bus for. I think the 4 inches of insulation in my floor are enough. However, in the bathroom, where I have a stainless steel shower pan, I have now ducted the output of my diesel heater into that cavity below it, so it keeps all of my pipes nice and piping, and it heats the bottom of my shower pan, so when I get in there, that cold stainless steel is actually nice and toasty, in addition to the rest of the floor in my bathroom being warm. Then after that, it comes out through a little vent in the wall over there, and then there's also a hole cut through the wall in the very back of my bus near the water tank, which means anytime my diesel heater is running, it's going to be keeping it warm up here. It's going to be keeping my bathroom floor toasty, keeping my pipes from freezing, sending a little bit of heat toward the back by my bedroom, and also sending a little bit of heat right to the water tank, which is where I want it in cold temperatures. I highly recommend this move if you have the space to do so. For me, it's something that once I had the idea, I just had to do it, and I reworked my whole system in order to incorporate all of this ducting. The next type of ducting I want to talk about, and I'm pretty proud of this one. This is how we supply our diesel heater with intake air, okay? This is the air that it's going to take from the inside of the bus, heat up, and then redistribute through the rest of the bus. Now, typically, it's just going to come from the living space in here right behind the diesel heater, and it's usually not ducted. What I've done is I've taken some ductwork, connected it to the back of the diesel heater, run it along the back of this box, and actually connected it to the output of this giant driver's heater that the bus came with stock. Now, these heaters are incredible, and I always recommend keeping at least one of them for defrost or heating purposes while you're going down the road, just because their output is so high. It's like 60,000 BTU for the heat section and 60,000 BTU for the defrost section of just this one heater. It's got a very powerful fan in it, And whenever this is running, so if my engine's running and I'm driving and I have this heater on, half of the air from this heater is actually going to be forced down through the diesel heater. I'll be leaving the diesel heater off, but it goes down through the diesel heater and it's able to reuse the same ductwork that I previously installed to send the hot heat from this heater through out this vent and then back and underneath my bathroom floor into the vent by my bedroom, and then finally out back to the water tank area, which means no matter what the situation is, I have nice even heating all throughout the bus, making sure all of my critical components, especially the ones that can freeze, are staying warm. That to me is super convenient. It's making double duty of this ductwork that I've already got installed, and it does no harm to the diesel heater whatsoever. The other benefit of that is since we're routing the intake of the diesel heater up and out of the living space, so to speak, up by the driver, it also helps bring some of the sound of that diesel heater out and away, which I should mention, anytime you install ductwork, it's going to do wonders to help diminish the sound of the diesel heater. And my hope is that when this is all closed up and the seats down and everything, you're barely going to be able to hear the diesel heater running. That'd be really nice because in the wintertime, it's running a lot. So check out some ductwork, get creative with it if you have the means to. Again, there's nothing wrong with just having it come straight out into your living space, especially in a smaller bus. But because my bus is a little bit bigger and I had this great idea, now the ductwork I think is really paying off. And it's been working wonders while I build this out here in the winter. Here's a quick tip. If you're going to be ducting your diesel heat output to try to keep your pipes from freezing, it's important to remember if you have a high-powered diesel heater, you want to keep that heat off of the pipes directly. PVC, which I'm using for my drain and waste pipes in this bus, doesn't want to be above 140 degrees. And for PEX, it's rated to, I believe, 180, but it's in your best interest to kind of make sure that that heat comes out of the vent, not right onto those pipes. I've got mine routed and I figured that all out, but if you've got a thermometer or something you can use, it's worth, doing some test runs with it operating on high for like a couple hours, making sure you're not going to get any hot spots on your pipes, which could weaken them or deform them, and we don't want that. Well, welcome to the trunk of my bus, where I'll conclude with my last tip, which if you'll notice, I've got my 125-gallon water tank here, and I have stopped it just shy of the wall. I've got about 1 1/8 inches here of a gap. Now that's my bathroom wall. The shower's on the other side of it. So we've got our hot air hanging out underneath our shower pan, and it comes out through a hole cut in the bottom of this wall in the back corner here, and it sends that hot air out through this space and into my garage area. That's not a whole lot of hot air, but it's enough to make sure that these pipes don't freeze and that my tank doesn't freeze. I did add an electric pad heater under the tank just in case. But if you follow this method, I'm pretty confident that I can be in any type of weather scenario. And as long as I'm comfortable inside, I know that my freshwater tank and none of my pipes will be frozen. And that's worth its weight in gold. Well, that's going to do it for all of the tips and tricks that I implemented for the diesel heater on my bus. Maybe you have a few of your own. Drop them in the comments section. Maybe something I did was really stupid. You should also let me know. I appreciate any and all feedback. But that's going to do it for this week's video. If you like this video, make sure you do the like and subscribe thing. Also, you can check me out on Patreon if you want to support me in other ways. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening there. And as always, if you want help with your build, head over to schoolysupport.com or chuckcassidy.com. I've got a lot of different options available for you to select from so that you can get the help you want from yours truly to make this the bus of your dreams. We'll catch you next week.